Hello, class. I've received a couple emails, couple questions regarding the microeconomics project. So I figured I'd make a short little video just explaining parts of it, some of what I'm asking about, and some of the information on this actual on the actual ag project page. There's a lot of information on this page. There's a lot of information here whenever you're looking at the cost. Then you get down here, and next thing you know, you have these inputs and outputs, and there's a lot of numbers and a lot of information, and I purposely designed it that way. But if you kind of look at it step by step, you can kind of decipher it all. Sometimes you might be placed with a whole bunch of information all at once, and then you've got to go through and figure out exactly what goes where and how to do it all. So hopefully this video will kind of tell you or help you get started on it, kind of understand what I'm asking a little bit better. So whenever this is all set up on a factor product model. If you remember back to chapter 5, they talked about a factor product model, and within a factor product model, you're looking at one variable input producing one output. You have a lot of different fixed inputs, but you have one variable input doing one variable output. It's one of the simplest models. So I wanted to try and do that. And if you look at here, there's only one thing that's changing, and that's going to be pounds of feed. So we have pounds of feed is affecting the total pounds gained, or the total pounds gained. So that's going to be right here is your input. This feed amount is your input, whereas the pounds gained will be your output. So as you're going through this, you're going to have to find total cost, total variable cost, total fixed cost, and if you remember back, total cost is on a per fixed unit basis. So in this case, we're going to do that fixed unit as per head. So whenever we're talking about total cost, we're going to say like total fixed cost per head, total variable cost per head, and total cost per head. Then on the other side, whenever we start talking about average cost, remember average cost is on a per output unit basis. So when we get into the output side, we're going to start saying things like average cost per pound. So we have average variable cost per pound. We have average fixed cost per pound. Average total cost per pound. So you start off with these numbers up here, and you've got some of these fixed costs. Typically, whenever you're in a feedlot, you're looking at something like there's more variable inputs than just feed. Well, trying to make this fairly simple, we set it up in such a way where these all become fixed costs. These costs are not going to change. These are the yearly costs that you're going to be paying every single year based off of the scenario. And then we have it divided up into quarters. The amount that you pay per head, per animal, is going to actually buy the animal. So within a feedlot, you have to buy the animal, turn around and feed it, and then sell it at a heavier weight. So this is the prices that you're going to be buying the animal at. So you have $100 per hundredweight, and that $100 per hundredweight, you multiply that by the weight of the calf. So we're buying all of our calves at 700 pounds. So you take that $100 per hundredweight, times it by the hundreds of pounds that you're going to be buying, so it would be 7. Or you can take it where you could say, well, it's going to be $1 per pound. 100 divided by 100 is $1 per pound. Multiply that by the number of pounds of the animal. So in each case, it comes out to be $700. So this constitutes basically your fixed cost per head in quarter one. You take the amount that you're buying the animal at plus these costs right here, and what you're going to do is you're actually going to add up these costs and divide that by the total number of head ran through the feedlot in that particular year. So that's kind of, these numbers right here all lead into your fixed costs. And then you get into your variable costs. Your variable costs are going to be, it's going to basically go off of this schedule. Here are your variable inputs right here, and here are your outputs. So what you have to do is you have to take the amount of feed you're feeding, and you'll multiply it by the rate, by how much, the cost of the feed, I mean, and that's going to give you your variable cost, or total variable cost. And then you come down here, and now you've got all of these prices down here. So as we all know, and typically in an actual feedlot or in any kind of commodity industry, prices are not static. In your textbook, typically we look at static prices. We look at prices that aren't changing. That's purely to kind of help give a more simplistic view to everything and give the basics. Well, here we go. We have 26 different numbers here. And I'm asking you to take those 26 numbers and find one. So there's different methods of doing this, and this is actually up to your preference exactly how you want to find the price per pound that you kind of want to base it all off of. And the simplest way is you can basically take an average of all these numbers. That is the most simplest way. If you want to get a little bit more technical, want to get a little more fancy, you can base things off of percentages and kind of do well, 90% of the time you are within this price range, so we're going to take the average of that type deal. How you come up with this actual one price out of these 26 numbers is totally up to you. And the reason I'm having you do that, having you come up with a single number, is that way if you or this company, Feed Right Feedlots, open up this notebook and they say, well, what is the optimal pounds? What is the amount of pounds that we need each of our calves to be at? And they want 1 pound. Well, you can take that number and give it to them. Or they can say, well, what is the optimal amount of input that we need to provide? We don't care about what the price is. We want that optimal amount of input. Well, you could go off and you could say, well, because the average price is typically this, we're going to say, here is the number of input. So that's the reason behind just wanting one number. So that kind of leads into how you will do everything. You've got your fixed cost right here, and of course your fixed cost from quarter 1 to quarter 2 is going to change, and then you have and then quarter 3 and quarter 4 will also change, and then down here it's going everywhere. Then down here you have your production function, which leads into being able to calculate the variable costs, and then you can also calculate revenue. So the first thing I would do after you kind of understand where these numbers are coming from is I would develop a schedule. So it's like one of these schedules that you might see towards the end of chapter 5 in your book, and it's talking about it has a schedule where it says, well, you have input, then you have output, and then you have total fixed cost, and then you have total variable cost, and then total revenue, and then after that you have average variable cost, and then average fixed cost, and then average total cost, and then on the far side you have something that says marginal cost, and then marginal revenue. Take these numbers, find those total costs, that total variable cost, total fixed cost, and then just start working across the schedule to where by the end of it you will have a full-fledged schedule that's going to be a pretty robust table, and it's going to have average fixed cost, average variable cost. Well, it will start with input, go to output, then go to total fixed cost, total variable cost, total revenue, average fixed cost, average variable cost, average total cost, marginal cost, and then marginal revenue on the side. Once you have that table built, then you can go ahead and start making your graphs. And I would build the table for quarter 1 first. And if you do it properly in Google Sheets and you cell reference everything, then you can actually just take the first sheet that you create and actually duplicate it and change one number in it. If you're unaware of how to do that, just let me know, and I'd be more than happy to help you with cell referencing in Google Sheets and everything of that nature. But hopefully this video is going to provide you a little bit more of sense of direction on where to go with it. I know it's a lot of numbers, a lot of information just kind of thrown at you, but once you kind of get going with it, I believe you should have no problem actually finishing up the project. It's just kind of getting started and knowing where the numbers go. But I hope this little video helps out with that. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Either give me a call or give me an email. Best of luck on this project.